to another episode of Pouring Out My Thoughts podcast where I talk about whatever I want, whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm feeling. Hosted by me, HJ. This week, um, not a random topic again, but that's just because I've been seeing this concept or this thought a lot, and it reminded me of a story that I had read back in college, and I decided to reread it because of this. So if you're on the internet at all, or just caught up with media, you know what the times are kind of looking like right now. Just with everything that is going on, I'm not going to get into it, but there's just so much going on around the world. Um, but several people have made this point that there are a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is the end of the world. Um, this is end times. Things are never been this bad. Blah blah blah." Like those kind of very extremist thoughts about what's going on. Um, but people have been making the point that it's not that things have gotten worse than they ever been. Um, it's like these things, crazy things have been happening for years all over the world. There's always been insane things happening. The difference between now and say 30 years ago, like, yeah, just even say 30 years ago, you can even say 20 years ago, um, is that we now have more access to it. We now have more access to information that is not just local to our city, county, state, country, continent. Like, we now have so much access that is readily available to us around the world. If we want to know about the news in India, it's a simple search. You can easily get to that. If you want to know about what's going on in Greenland or in Iceland or in Uzbekistan or in Singapore or Cameroon, wherever, the internet gives you so much access to that. And the media has been really good at only putting out the negatives. Um, thank God I have a couple followers and I have this one person that I follow. If I can find his name, I'll share it. But if not, I'm so sorry. But there's a guy who only shares like the good news that's coming in the world. But anyway, um, the point is we have so much more access to it, so we are more knowledgeable about it. And in being more knowledgeable about it, about what's going on, there are now more things that we feel the need to fight for. Not saying it's wrong to want to fight for things, injustices, or for rights, or for any of those things. It's just like a little bit more added pressure, and especially if you're in a position where you can't really do anything as a single person anyway. Like if you're in a position where you're one of the people who needs the help, like you're worried about where your next meal is going to come from, it can be very difficult to try and figure out how you can help people in other communities or other nations that haven't eaten in however long, or they haven't been able to express their creative freedom, or whatever other injustices throughout the world. It can be hard for you to want to, not even just want to, it can be hard for you to try and take a stand for those things when you have so much going on in your own personal life. So it feels like more added weight, more added pressure, and we've been seeing this a lot. Like every single day, there's another thing that we need to, or that we're being introduced to, another problem that there is for communities that we're not a part of. Whether that's you are part of the Black community and you're seeing injustices towards people in the Latino community, or in the Latino community and seeing issues that are happening in the Asian American community, and so on and so forth. Um, and don't get me wrong, like I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with being an ally. There's nothing wrong with helping people fight for these things. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that it can be a lot for you if you are already struggling with so many other things. And the internet is also great at pressuring people to feel those things and to, it's like trying to pressure you to be a part of the change, right? Um, and if you are able to do so, then great, fantastic. Then if you're not, I don't think we should be I don't think we should be immediately sent to the gallows for it, you know? Um, but another thing that I've been thinking about is because we have all this knowledge about everything that's going on, I don't think that's a good thing. Um, Knowledge is power. It is. Education is power. It's something that is needed. We do need to know what's going on in around us, right? We do need to be aware of those things. However, I do feel like there's a limit to it, right? I feel like there's only but so much that we should be able that we should know. I feel like there's a cap, right? Because I feel like if you obtain too much knowledge, too much information, um, especially if it's information about somewhere that does not directly impact you, or even closely indirectly impact you. When I say that, I mean like, say for instance you're living in Kansas and there are things that are happening in Kansas that directly impact you. Okay. But there are also things happening in Minnesota that um, indirectly impact you and could be changed for the greater country, right? So it's like it kind of makes sense to be concerned about it because it's within your own country, but because you don't live in that state, it's not something you should fully put all of your um, energy towards. I hope that makes sense. Um, but it could be a lot to hold on to all that knowledge. It's just too much. I feel like we are not meant to hold that much information. Um, Especially because there's so much wrong and false, those are synonyms. There's so much false information out there. Um, excuse me, that is like taking up space of what could be correct information. Um, and I feel like that's also a problem. And I feel like it's aiding to the fact that we as a people have been reporting like lots of depression and mental health issues. And I feel like if you're getting so much information and so much knowledge and a lot of it is negative, there's no wonder you'd be depressed, right? Especially if you're struggling with your own life. It's too much. Um, I don't feel like we're meant to know everything. I don't feel like we're meant to know what's going on everywhere at all the time, at all times. I feel like there should be a limit to it. And um, I saw an example of this, of what happens when you get too much information. In a story that I read back in college, like I said, it's called The Bet by Anton Chekov. And it's a story of a guy, a young lawyer. He's at a party at this banker's house, and this is set like sometime in the 1800s. If I'm not mistaken, it's sometime in the 1800s, child. I don't remember. Um, but the the conversation at the party is talking about capital punishment. Um, and people, there was like the two sides of it, whether or not it was moral, whether or not you should do it or you shouldn't do it. Is it okay? Is it not okay? Blah blah blah. Right. And now the lawyer in the group, um, he is asked, um, so they asked him like which one is better? Is it um the death sentence or so capital punishment, or whether you should just have lifelong imprisonment? Which one is worse, right? Or which one is immoral? And I'm reading it directly so I don't mess this up. But the lawyer said quote, the death sentence and the life sentence are equally immoral. But if I had to choose between the death penalty and imprisonment for life, I would certainly choose the second. To live anyhow is better than not at all. Um, and I'll get back to that. I might talk about that, how I feel about that in another one. But anyway, that was his comment. And so the banker, again, who this was his house, he was a little bit younger, and it says that he was more nervous in those days, and he was suddenly carried away by excitement. That's a direct quote. Um, and he was like, "It's not true. I bet you $2 million that you wouldn't stay in confinement for 5 years." He says 5 years. Um, And so the lawyer's like, all right, bet, let's do it. And if you're serious, I'll do 15 instead of 5. And so they discuss the terms of it. And the terms are this: that if the lawyer stays in confinement in 15 years, for 15 years, he is not able to leave. He's not able to be in contact with anybody. He is able to get reading materials, all that kind of stuff. They'll feed him. They're able to give him wines, and he's able to smoke, but he's not able to talk to anybody. He can communicate through letters to the the banker, but that's it. He's not able to talk. He's in there by himself. 15 years. And so within those 15 years, it talks about what the lawyer does in that time. He reads a lot. He reads so many things. He learns languages. He learns about music. For 1 year, all he did was read the Bible, and that was it. He got sick of wine because there was no one to enjoy it with. He didn't smoke. He did all these things, and when I tell you, he gained so much knowledge and information. He was reading and reading and reading, going through. Let me see if I can find how many books it said that he went through. Um, I forgot how many he went through. I'm trying to find it. I can't find it, but he went through a bajillion books. And then at one point he learned 6 languages, and just to feel something after he learned those 6 languages, he wrote a bunch of letters in the 6 languages, and to try and get some kind of verification to say that he had done it right. The prisoner or the banker was supposed to have someone shoot a gun up in the air to say that he did it right, and he heard the gunshots. Um, but he had learned all this stuff, and it wasn't just like fiction that he was reading. Like I said, he was learning about music. He learned about theology. He learned about history. He learned about he read books on chemistry, science, all the sciences. He read philosophy. He read so many different things. And then it was coming up on the time that the 15 years was almost up. Now, 15 years, in the 15 years, the banker had been frivolous with his money. And if the man was like succeeded in or won the bet, it would bankrupt the banker. He'd be out of money. Um, but if it didn't, he'd be good. So it's coming up on the 15 years, and the banker is um trying to decide. Well, I should have said spoilers. Spoilers for this 100 some 50-year-old story. But anyway, the banker is like thinking about this, and he's like, I can't have him win this, so he's considering killing him. Um, but he goes to he ends up going downstairs, and he ends up going downstairs into the like shed where the guy is locked up. Um, to try and smother him with a pillow. He looks through the little window. He sees the guy just sitting there at his desk, sitting there really still, not moving. Um, and he makes a couple of noises. The guy doesn't even move. He opens the door, sees the guy still just sitting there, doesn't move, seems unaffected. Seems like he's asleep. He describes how he was looking. He looks not the greatest, considering only 15 years had passed. It seemed like um, well over 15 years had passed. Like he had aged really bad. Um, so, and he sees in front of him that there's this letter, and in the letter, it says this. I'm gonna try and skim it because it's really long. Well, it's my podcast. I can say whatever I want. I can read anything I want to, so I'm gonna read it. So it says, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I regain my freedom and the right to associate with other men. But before I leave this room and see the sunshine, I think it necessary to say a few words to you. With a clear conscience, I tell you, as before God who beholds me, that I despise freedom and life and health and all that in your books is called the good things of the world. For 15 years I have been intently studying earthly life. It is true I have not seen the earth nor men, but in your books I have drunk fragrant wine, I have sung songs, I have hunted stags and wild boars in the forest, I have loved women, beauties as ethereal as clouds, created by the magic of your poets and geniuses, have visited me at night and have whispered in my ears wonderful tales that have set my brain in a whirl. In your books I have climbed to the peaks of Elburz and Mont Blanc, and from there I have seen the sun rise and have watched it. I have watched it in evening flood the sky, the ocean, and the mountain tops with gold and crimson. I have watched from there the lightning flashing over my head and cleaving the storm clouds. I have seen green forests, fields, rivers, lakes, in towns. I have heard the singing of sirens and the strains of shepherd's pies. I have touched the wings of comely devils who flew down to converse with me of God. In your books I have flung myself into the bottomless pit, performed miracles, slain, burned towns, preached new religions, conquered whole kingdoms. Your books have given me wisdom. All that the unresting thought of man has created in the ages is compressed into a small compass in my brain. I know that I am wiser than all of you. And I despise your books. I despise wisdom and the blessings of this world. It is all worthless, fleeting, illusory. Illusory. I have never said that word out loud before. Anyway, and deceptive, like a mirage. You may be proud, wise, and fine, but death will wipe you off the face of the earth as though you were no more than mice burrowing under the floor, and your posterity, your history, your immortal geniuses will burn or freeze together with the earthly globe. You have lost your reason and taken the wrong path. You have taken lies for truth and hideousness for beauty. You can marvel if, owing to strange events of some sorts, frogs and lizards suddenly grew on apple or orange trees instead of fruit, or if roses began to smell like a sweating horse. So I marvel at you who exchange heaven for earth. I don't want to understand you. To prove to you in action that to prove to you in action how I despise all that you live by, I renounce the 2 million of which I once dreamed of as a paradise, and which I now despise. To deprive myself to deprive myself of the right to the money, I shall go out from here 5 hours before the time fixed, and so break the compact. So basically, he denounced the money. He didn't care anymore. The part that I am I want to focus on the most, that really just says that there is too much knowledge, is he says, your books have given me wisdom. All that the unresting thought of man has created in the ages is compressed into a small compass in my brain. Like, all of the information that he grabbed, everything that he took from all the books that he read, crammed it into his brain. It became too much. It was too much, and all that did to him was just break him down and make him it he no longer cared for anything. It was too much. Um Everything that he had seen, everything that he had learned, it didn't matter to him anymore. He saw life as I want to say pointless, but it seemed like he gained a more cynical view on life. Like it didn't matter anymore. Nothing mattered anymore. $2 million back in, when was this? I really need to figure out when this was. It was 18 something. I know there's a date in here, but anyway, back in the 1800s, $2 million. I mean, $2 million is a lot of money now, but $2 million back in the 1800s, that's gajillion million dollars. Yes, I know that's not a real number. Leave me alone. But that's a lot of money. And so to denounce that much money, oh, it was 1885. Ooh, let me see what $2 million in 1885 would be. Let's go to a conversion money converter. It's not a converter, it's an inflation thing. There we go. Inflation calculator. Oh, wait, I forgot that it doesn't go back to the 1800s. This one only goes back to 1913. All the ones I've been seeing only go back to 1913. But it'll give us a good idea. So $1 million in 1913 is currently $33 million. So let's just say $66 million today, and we can go. Let's go up to a clean $70 million. 70 million. This man turned down $70 million. $70 million, and because of how he now viewed the world, it was it was too much. And I feel like now, with all the access that we have to the world, it can give you a very bleak view of the world. Like, I feel like none of this matters. Like, oh, there's there's awful things happening in my own country. There's awful things happening in this country that I can't even get to. All these people are dying, are getting sick, are losing their families, are all these things, and there's I can't even help myself. I it makes perfect sense to me why people will feel helpless. It I completely understand it, and it having so much access to it does not help at all. Um, like I said, I do think it's important for us to have knowledge about what's going on around us. I do think that. I do agree that we need to know what's going on around us and how things will affect the things that we use on a daily basis, or how things will affect our lives, our livelihood, especially for those that are around us. And I also do think that we should stand up for the things that we believe in, and stand up for the things that we can fight for. um However, I do not feel like it should come at the cost of our sanity, because I know that people will be like, well, I can think of like one big argument, right? Is that, well, people in the civil rights movement, they lost their lives, they did lose their families, all these kinds of things. I get that. Um, those people were fighting for, I say those people as if they didn't fight for me as well, because I am also an African American woman. But back then, and in things that are happening now that are similar to that, um, they're fighting for things that directly impact them and people like them. They're like future generations, right? Um, that makes sense to me. I get it. And like I'm saying, I do understand um helping other groups of people, right? Other ethnicities, other communities. I understand that. But and I under so I get fighting for something that is oppressing you or something that is hurting you, and willing to risk things for that. I get that 1000%. But what I'm saying is that we cannot be everywhere at once. We cannot help everyone at once. Like I don't have the power to um help every single community that I know is hurting. And that sucks. I get it and I wish I could. I so wish I could. I just don't have that power. Um and I don't think that it is I don't think it is every person's individual purpose to also help every individual ever. I feel like we should I here's the thing. I feel like we should be able to help who we can help. Emphasis on can, right? Including ourselves. If we have the ability to do something, then by all means we should be doing it. If we have the ability to do something and it is the right thing to do, then go ahead. I 1000% agree. Like if that means just making a phone call to the senator's office and calling them for that to make sure they're making the right vote for us. If that means voting, period, because that's another thing. There are people out here that are like complaining about change and won't vote. That's a different conversation. But if that means voting, if that means some people are boycotting certain things, if that's what you want to do, if there are ways that we can help and we have the ability to do so, then by all means. Um, but I feel like us having so much access to everything that like knowledge about everything that's going on becoming overwhelming. It's like every time you go on TikTok, there's something else that we need to be working on. There's something else we need to be fixing, and whether or not it impacts us or not, regardless, it can be overwhelming and it can be hard and it can be a lot. And it's like, dang, I don't know what to do. I can't help these people, but I want to. I feel like what I'm doing is not enough. And you have the people on the internet saying, "No, you're not doing enough. You're not doing XYZ." And it's like, yo, I'm just trying to figure out how to feed my family right now. I don't really have the means to help this community get electricity. I don't have that. I don't know how to do that. I don't have that. I'm just trying to figure out how to get my family fed. I'm trying to figure out how to get my family into a home. I'm trying to figure out how to ensure my family members have the medication that they need. I'm trying to make sure I can get this life-saving surgery. I'm trying to make whatever it is, right? Like we already have everything that we need. Um, but like we already have not things that we need. We already have everything that we have going on in general. But I just feel like it is too much to ask of everyone to do it all and to know it all. I don't feel like we it is fair to ask anybody, "Oh, you don't know about this thing that's going on?" I don't feel like we should know everything. There's knowledge is power at some point, but at the same time knowledge is crippling. Like it can be power, but it can also be your greatest enemy. Like I feel like there is a limit. I feel like there is a limit um to what we should have access to. um I don't think it's our jobs to know everything. I don't think we should know everything. We can't do that. We should not be able to. We should not be doing that. um so yeah, this story just made me think back to, or everything that I was seeing was made me rethink about this story and everything that he did and how it changed him. He was bright eyed and bushy tailed at the beginning, and now 15 years later, he does not care about life, and he is depressed, and he just does, and nothing matters anymore. And I don't want to keep seeing people like that, you know. Um, and I've been feeling myself falling into that trap. Just I've been trying to avoid social media, but even when I'm on it, trying to get, because I tried to curate my algorithm, but ever since TikTok's algorithm changed, my algorithm changed. It's not my funny videos anymore. Um, there is a lot. There's a lot. And it was becoming too much. I'm just like, I can't help. Like, people are asking me to. Yes, there are some things I can do, and I will do those things. I can make the phone calls. I can boycott things. I can um, stop supporting things. I can blah, 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 right? But at some point, there's just a lot of awareness and it's overwhelming. It's very overwhelming, um, especially when I have my own things going on. So, yeah, I feel like I know other people have done their other think pieces. There are some videos I've been seeing on the TikTokies of other people talking about it, and I just wanted to give my perspective. I could, if no, I was gonna say I could have just like actually planned this out, but then that takes away the fun of me just yapping for 30 minutes. But anyway, let me know what you think. What do you think about knowledge? Do you feel like we can just always need to be knowing everything? Do we always need to be aware of every single thing that's going on? Do you feel like there's a limit? I don't know, just let me know. You can find me on socials. I have not been active on them as of late. But I am on Instagram and TikTok at Fairy Network and Fairy.network. It's FHERI, Finding Her Identity Network. Um, you can find me there. You can give me topics. You can comment. Also like and subscribe. If you're listening this on YouTube, if it's on Spotify, then just follow and save the video or download it. Um, and give me a comment. Let me know what you think. I feel like this is a good conversation to have. But yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I will see y'all next week. Don't know what I'm going to be talking about, but I'll see y'all next week.